Hey guys, I just thought I'd throw up a little quick video on what I'm doing with my Electrolyte composite frame. Firstly, line out the two intake ducts. What I did was I used double-sided tape to hold them together. This is just for now to line everything up. I also used double-sided tape to put in these two little wedges, and that holds the intake up a bit so you can get your little plastic tubing around there without deforming anything. So that was the big plan with that thing. Also, I then went inside and put a couple of, looking for a light source here that can catch that, double-sided tape again in there to create a flush continuation after I cut out the intake holes. I also put some electrical tape on there so none of the epoxy would stick to it. It'll just peel away from the electrical tape. I did the same here with double-sided tape. I put another former, if you want, temporary former. And so basically what I've done is I've pinched both sides to align the inside of the intake tubing with the wall of the fuse. So now that that's all lined up, what I did is I mixed up a slow cure epoxy 50-50 with micro balloons. I then put a bead of it around here. As you see, I went back about 8mm. Did that to both of them, and then once that was in, I then slotted in the intake tubes, lined it all up in between these two little sandwiches, got it nice and secure, and then stood it up on its nose overnight to let the epoxy drip down into the any cavity that may have been there and make a nice seal. You can actually see how high it was at one stage, and then it all dripped down because it was a very slow cure, 12-hour. And now I've got a nice tough epoxy but light join of my intakes. So what I did do is, when I dremeled this out, I made sure I left, a bit high, when I dremeled this out I made sure I left 1.5–2mm excess all the way around, so that now once this is dry and I've got a bit of a flush wall of epoxy as well, I can now get in there with my little sander and make this nice and flush. So there'll be a smooth transition from the walls into the intake tubes. And likewise here, what I'm about to do now, and this is why I'm showing the video now, is that I'm going to leave this side on. Oh, actually I'm going to pop that off first, put some tape across there and then stick it back on so it holds its, once again, flush with the wall of the fuselage. Then inside, same thing, half micro balloons, half epoxy mix, plus some 1/2 ounce fiberglass cloth, and I'm going to place it into the seam here to join it. The cloth will give it strength, micro balloons will give it a lightness, it'll keep the weight down. Reason being, Nitro's going to go for it. He's going to try and get this sucker flying for the original motor it was made for, or the original fan unit. That's the big plan. But as we know, Nitro's got himself a nice little power unit, or what could you call it? A pocket rocket type of fan unit that I'm dying to put into something, and this sucker may as well be the one that gets it. Okay, so this is why I'm going light, and this is what I'm doing to get a nice flush finish inside here, and then of course I'll buff it all up, make it all nice and silky smoothie. Just here there's a bit of a leak. If I turn it up like that, you can see just a little bit came out as it cured, because there wasn't quite a sealed contact there when I pushed this forward. It just didn't sit flush, so a little bit of mix came out there, but of course, you know, that's all going to get cleaned up anyway with the sand up when I flush everything out. Alright, so there's all your standoffs and your alignment, and you know, now I've got all this sitting properly. a nice flush wall here with a build-up that will take place on the inside here, so you won't lose any strength when you sand this after it's all cured. And we'll continue on from there. This is, by the way, an older unit, as you see. Now the access to get the pipes and all the works in there is now, this is just one whole open section now for the kits that Brett is making. What I'll be doing is the same type of thing if all goes to plan, which will be cutting out this section and making that a removable plate. Alright, there we go. Now let's get back to work. I have done other things, you probably see that in the background. You know, there's other things ready to go already. It's been a slow build because I did take some time off for various personal reasons, but the old workbench is back in action, and what better model to start it or to kickstart myself back into building than Brett's Electrolyte. Alright, talk again soon.